and the material should just roll right out. I have to take this down all the way to the side material, but do not cut into the side material at this time. One thing I would like to discuss with you is care of your instrument while you're constructing it. Your shop will get dirty. As you're working on the instrument, you're going to create a lot of dust. Dust in a workshop is a never-ending battle. It gets on your hands, mixes with the oil coming from your hands, and creates a very fine paste-like substance. And when you handle your instrument, it will get dirty. This will clean up later. You need to still take precautions and wash your hands frequently while you're working on your instrument. When you're not working on your instrument, keep the back plate, or whichever plate, not actually attached to the sides, clamped to the fixture. That will help prevent it from warping or distorting while you're working on the other parts. Keep them off to the side, but handy. And when you're actually done for the day, put the two halves back together and reinstall your clamping garland or your spool clamps. This will help you maintain a better instrument with no warpage, and also give you a lot better satisfaction knowing that your instrument's protected by the clamping garlands. I am now preparing to cut the dovetail at the neck block location. I've completed trimming off the edge overhang. Use a fine tooth saw and cut on the inside of the lines. Remove the cut wood slowly to prevent splitting of the side wood outside of the line on each side. Continue in this manner until the fingerboard gauge is lined up with the bridge line. When you have the neck held in place at the correct angle and the fingerboard gauge on the top of the fingerboard, the extension off the back of the neck gauge should line up right on the center of the bridge line in between the F-hole marks on the sound holes on each side. The fingerboard gauge is the exact stop length that you need from the string nut to the top of the bridge. Here I have gone ahead and removed the fingerboard from the neck. The neck angle gauge that I have reads both with a fingerboard and without a fingerboard, and it will give you the same angle when you mount it to your body. I wrap tape around the fingerboard neck gauge and the handle underside of the neck. This is to protect the neck while I'm working with it, and to keep the neck angle gauge in the same place while I'm doing my fit up, so that I'm sure that I'm going back into the same position each time. I left the string nut in place so that I can still have my stop length set, so I know how deep to carve the dovetail joint. I will also take and put a sock over the end of the scroll work to protect the scroll work in the peg box area while I'm working, to prevent any damage from nicks or dings while I'm moving it around on both sides of the neck block. Here I have installed the square and lined it up with the scored line on the rib. Then with the knife, I just slowly draw along to deepen the score. With each successive pull, you cut more fiber and will eventually cut all the way through the rib material. You will have to repeat this same process with the other side of the neck joint. I will repeat this procedure as often as necessary to obtain the correct fit. Here I have completed setting the neck angle. By adjusting the dovetail joint, you can actually get the neck angle gauge to touch the top by paring away at the flat at the heel of the neck block. In this area right here, you can pare it away to change the angle in that direction. You check your alignment, and everything should be running right down the center line. If it's off to one side or the other, by trimming on the side opposite of where it's off at, you can bring it back to center. Working small with very small, less than paper thin shavings and patience, you will obtain this goal of setting the neck. My next step will be to remove it, remove the gauge, and clean everything up. I will be gluing the neck joint in the next step. I have extra material above the neck block so that I can sand it off after trimming it and blend it right into the neck block. So when the back plate is attached, I will have one consistent full joint. When gluing on the neck, you must ensure that you check your alignment, neck to the end pin location. I go by the center line of the instrument all the way up with a string attached to the scroll area, centered on your center line bead. Right down the center of the neck, the center of the instrument, of the top plate, and right on the butt joint. You sight down the instrument to check, to make sure that your neck is straight in line with the string of the body. Add your clamp to hold the neck firmly in position. Not a lot of tension, because you do not want to distort the sides or damage the top plate. To hold the neck in position while it sets up. You'll be able to take this apart tomorrow after about 12 to 14 hours of set time. Inspect the joint really well before you proceed to the next step. In this segment, I'll be trimming the heel of the neck level with the neck block. I'll put a piece of 3x5 card folded in half to protect the rib material and the neck block while I use the saw. I have added the protection back onto the neck assembly so that I won't damage it while I'm doing this procedure. So I just lay my saw right on the neck block and I slowly score using a light pressure. The kerf of the saw will actually damage the paper, but it will not go through and damage the side material or the neck block. Switch your saw to the other side. I have the correct neck angle when the bottom of this pin touches the surface of the belly at the bridge line.